Hi, I'm gonna talk about organic portals. An organic portal is a creation. There is a planet in the fifth realm of Epsilon X Ultra where there is an alien race that create humanoid replicas of Earthlings, as they call us, or at least maybe you, the listener. What I'm talking about is a synthetic civilization on a planet that's pretty similar to Earth, but it has more landmass. Earth is a pretty blue planet. That's why it's always called the blue planet. But this planet is more of a green planet, and walking around on this planet is probably about 20 billion organic portals, and these are humanoid replicas before mentioned, and they work like this. You got a synthetic shell of a human body. You put out the soul with the use of a nanotube, and you insert drone-like mesh of cables and circuits, which is basically like a very advanced quantum sub-Etra computer. If you've studied Epsilon 9, you will know sort of what I'm talking about, but it has a higher zeta to it. So it's kind of like you have a Windows computer on Earth, and you uninstall the entire operating system and you install instead Clax from Epsilon 7. So it's almost like that, which I just described. But either way, so these organic portals are a little bit like human organic portals, but they have some additional upgrades which human organic portals don't have. They have muscle upgrades, which means that they can run really fast. They can climb up trees, kind of like a cat on Earth. They can jump very high because they have elastic springs in their knees. So it works kind of like crickets, but on a higher scale, which means that they can jump a lot higher than the original race that was wiped out from this planet, but I'll come to that. And also they got an eyesight which isn't, directly just amplified, but it has some technical pros to it relative to the original program that was used in the first generation, because when the Gnarks created these synthetics, they first had one generation, but it ended up destroying the entire planet. The entire planet burned, so it was kind of like a forest fire, but on a global level or scale. Like I said, this is the green planet that we're talking about, not the blue planet. And how it works is that in the atmosphere of this planet there are basically certain types of helium atoms that can combust if they come in contact with the I forgot my chemistry, but helium basically reacts with what to create fire. I don't know. Either way, these synthetics also has some additional upgrades to their eyesight. which makes them able to focus on certain details very far away. So it's not just an amplitude of every, aspect. It's more of a little spectrum where one feature is amplified. So it's kind of like a twisted knob of an empire the size of a cactus times 3 inverted to the power of the equilibrium zeta aga. But that's for another time, because now I'm going to talk about the difference between these synthetics and the synthetics of planet Earth, here where I am walking right now in this moment in time. Jesus Christ, do you hear this? The wind is blowing here. A guy told me that it was gonna be a really strong wind today, and that I better lock my windows where I live, because there's gonna be very strong wind today. It's gonna be a storm. So I'm talking about comparing the synthetics of Epsilon 9 to that of Earth's, because Earth has its own synthetic race that was created, as you all know, and you all know this race. You all are probably very familiar with it, I expect. But the most major difference between the organic portals of Tellus, if you want to call it that, it's continuing now to record. It's raining here a little bit, so there's water drops that are touching my phone's screen and causing the recording to pause now. So hopefully we won't have an interruption. Okay, so basically the major difference is the eyesight, like I just said, but also the other muscular features. And Earth synthetics are very psychic, which Epsilon 9s aren't. They're more of a muscle upgrade kind of story. They're kind of like if you have ever used a web browser and tweaked it, it's kind of like that. But Epsilon with Earth's, but with Epsilon 9, it's kind of like, how should I describe this without having to explain the entire fucking OS that they use? It's kind of like picking grass off the ground, and then you do this game where you hold a few leaves of grass, and you cut them on the bottom so that they are different lengths, and you tell someone to pick a grass. Now it will seem to them that they picked a random one, but you know which one is the longest one, because you put them in an order so that you keep track of the longest one. So it's basically like a randomness generator, but of a certain type. So if you know conjectural tricknology, you will know what I'm talking about. But if you are a being from Earth, you will probably have a hard time understanding, but I will do my best to explain either way. So the organic portals of Earth also differ in the way that because the normal human or humans on Earth are supposed to be connected to the oversoul of the universe through their own souls, which creates a carnation in the space-time matrix around their head. And because of the fact that organic portals are undiluted in this frequency, they create an inverted carnation around their head, which can be perceived in different ways depending on your frequental configuration of the fifth vortex, but most people that are at least in the fifth or sixth density of the vortex will say that it looks like either blur or like the matrix is squeezed into a little point, or just like a fucking explosion or a hit by a knife. I have heard of many different ways to explain this effect, but what it basically is an inverted carnation of a soul calyx spiral. So what this means is that you will have something that reacts very strongly to a normal carnation in the space-time, and this effect you don't have with the synthetics from Epsilon 9, because they are like I said, like a Zeta program and not like a plugin from your browsers on Earth. And this means that you won't have this effect with them if you were a human that walked by to them, but instead you will have something like an equilibrium instability of the third vortex, which will result in it's kind of like the opposite of the psychedelic effect that you get when you eat a psychoactive psychedelic substance. It's kind of like the opposite of that. So it's almost like a antipsychotic substance for humans. But enough talking about the differences and the similarities between the synthetics of Earth and the synthetics of Epsilon 9. Instead, I'll just describe what a synthetical organic portal really is, and some of the mechanics behind it, because an organic portal is a complicated topic. There is a lot that is there's a lot of stuff to learn about them. There's a lot of different areas of exploration when, well, first of all, if you're gonna create organic portals, that's a thing for beings that are much higher than me and you probably listening to this. So this you cannot ask me for. This you have to ask other beings for, but I can list the technical aspects of an organic portal for you, because I have studied this. Actually, I have a 5-year exam on organic portals that I took on Epsilon 7 actually, so not that far from Epsilon 9 if you take the Zeta. But either way, let's not get into personal stuff here. Let's instead talk about the things that I was gonna talk about in this video, which is technical, how organic portals work on a technical level. And now I'm standing on the edge of a cliff overlooking a huge valley, and it's uninhabited, so there's no one here. Just very high trees. The trees are about, let's see now, 50 meters, I would say, and they are not that tight together. They have around 10 meters space around them, but they are really, really thick, and they reach high up to the sky. And I can see that it's blowing a little bit in the top there. They are getting ready for a storm. Well, either way, I'm gonna hope that the raindrops here doesn't interrupt the recording while I talk, and I'm going to explain to you some of the main features of the organic portal. some of the things that organic portals do, some of the things that they have a hard time doing, and some other technical aspects. An organic portal is a synthetic creation, which is synthetic tissue. It can be compared to humans growing a plant in a laboratory that was gene manipulated to produce a organic form of matter, which plants don't normally do. These synthetic humans, and I'm talking about the organic portals that are the most common, the A-type of Earth, they can be created in many ways. When they first experimented with the first prototypes, they obviously made every part manually, but nowadays that they've existed for some time, they are grown in on large fields basically that cover entire planets. It's kind of a huge industry, you can call it, but it's not really about income in the same way that humans farm things for money. But the organic tissue is being grown in very large amounts, and then they're being transported to Earth. But I forgot a step. Before they're being transported to Earth, they are transported to the factories where the technology is being inserted, because the organic portals needs, an operating system just like any robot, because an organic portal is really a robot, but it has some higher dimensions to it because it's made out of organic matter, which means that it got the normal receiver technologies that brains have to receive souls. So organic portals can receive a soul, but they are not doing this when they are first being created, because that's not the purpose of their creation. The purpose of their creation is to serve as kind of like an antivirus program towards the life forms that has a soul, to wipe them out. And in the factory where the organic portal is created, it's basically being constructed in the way that technology goes in through the ears. It's I don't have to get into these details, but that's how it works. And it covers the entire inside of the head of the organic portal, and then it spreads, or it grows into the rest of the body, like a skeleton basically. So if you were to open one of these, and I'm talking about the stage where the organic portal is being created, you wouldn't see the normal stuff that you can find inside of a body. You would just find a bunch of cables and circuits and computer systems and stuff like that. But the next stage is to interfere with a Narma, and as you all know, Narmas are very conjectular, and this is, by the way, the fifth exponent of the inverted carnation that creates the soul reflection instability that I talked about earlier. So this is a very critical point when it's going through this stage, because at this stage this conjecture is basically taking from some of the upper layers of the cloud dimensional network and conjecturating it into the density that we have here, basically, which means that you have some strangeness, you can call it, going on in the matrix around the organic portal. And what it is it's basically taking place in the fourth dimension, because all the technology is located towards the H axis in a ultra-dimensional space. So if you are a fourth dimensional being in one of these factories, what you can see is the edge nodes going into 4D space of the edges of the technology that is in multi-dimensional space. So that's what they use to connect their sensories to, so that they can basically construct the organic portal. And after that is done, it's just shifted into the fourth dimension, and just like that, the organic portal now basically behaves just like a human body in the third dimension, in the way that if you were to dissect the organic portal, you would find guts and organs and other stuff that you'll find inside of a normal human. So that's some facts about that, and that's why you don't see these technologies when you, if some kind of accident were to happen with the organic portal, So now to some technological facts. The organic portal has a thinking speed of 29.7, which is 50 micronauts less that of a human, that has 30.8, if I remember correctly. But what this means is that basically all forms of thoughts are somewhat slower in the organic portal mind, which has the result of creating a TSI, which is a thought speed instability, magnitude. And what this means is basically it has to do with communicational things that I'm not going to go into now. Some other things that I can mention about organic portals is that they can be smart, they can have a high IQ, and their capability of learning is somewhat less than humans, but they're definitely not bad at learning. I'm not here to criticize organic portals. The organic portal, of course, because of the fact that they are in no way whatsoever connected to the soul equilibrium stabilizer, has no form of empathic thinking. And what this means is that they will never feed into the third cycle of Qwant. They will only eat from that cycle, and they really like to do this. They like it so much that it's their main objective, and that's also the purpose of their creation, even to eat from that third cycle. Sorry there. Yeah, that's what they do, and the normal humans basically go about avoiding it. So you got a little video game like scenario there, and I'm gonna jump over a crack here between two very large rocks, which is about, let's see now, it's about 20 or something meters down. So I hope I don't die. There you go, I did it. Good. So I am now walking up a mountain here, and the wind is very strong. I wonder if you can hear it. The sky is completely covered with a thick layer of clouds here on Earth, and it's gonna be a really strong storm soon. So, that's definitely something to look forward to, if you want to look forward to it. So, I'm on the top of a mountain. I'm on the top of the world here. Overlook. Whoa. Do you even hear me? Maybe the wind is so strong that... There, I see some bushes. I'm gonna enter into these bushes and sit here a little bit, and I think, oh shit. There's a lot of wind here, so much wind, and it comes like large, very aggressive pusts of wind. Whoa, so much wind. Wow. So I am hidden now beneath some bushes, and it's not completely dry here, it's still wet, so I won't sit down. Ooh. And it's extremely cold, and I'm going to take a little moment to think about what I'm gonna explain to you next. It might take a few seconds, but if you would be so kind to have a little bit of patience, I will soon be back with more information to you about organic portals. Yes, thank you for waiting. I'm now back to speak a little bit more about organic portals and their mechanism of action. So, the organic portals basically live in a simulated fourth density reality, or that's what they perceive, because they have a fourth density perception generator. So if you're a human from the higher densities, you will see them kind of like what should I compare it? Well, kind of, you know, that is actually irrelevant because there's no such thing as comparison for the organic portal. Instead of talking about that, I will talk about how to spot organic portals. Now, I told you earlier that they have a carnation of the fifth zeta generator plus 9H conjaculated to a level 1 fucking, I don't know, do you know even? I'm looking at a rock here in the distance and it literally looks like a face. Or I don't like the word literally because literally is a technical word. This rock looks like, it really looks like a face that's disappointed. He's disappointed in me, and it looks like he just blinked. Or he shifted his eyes a little bit, they moved. It looks like he's actually listening to what I'm saying. Yeah, it looks actually like he is oh my god, yeah, it looks like he's actually observing me. Okay, hi rock. Okay, the rock is watching me, and yeah, he wonders what I have to say, I think. So I will now talk about some of the mechanic that an organic portal uses in order to capture the soul essence of a normal human. The first technique that they use is body twitching, and it works in the way that the body of the organic portal twitches in spastic movements that looks kind of like an impulse to move away from something. That's how it has been described either way. And what this is about is basically changing the way that events are being played out in the action consequence, or the chain of action is what it's called. What this means is that their chain of action, the organic portal, and your chain of action, the human, because I presume that you're a human listening to this, are going to interlap, and this is a interpsychical reaction. It's what the outcome can be is some kind of dramatic events, sort of like things being dropped on the floor, things breaking, people slipping, or just strangeness, you know. It is a demonic generator that is causing this to happen. So of course it's related to the ancient demons of the 1700s, you know, that basically haunt houses and stuff. So it's related, but it's not the same. It's not at all the same. It's kind of like comparing, you know, an ant to a, I don't know, a small caterpillar. You know, the ants even eat caterpillars on Earth, so it's a perfect comparison. But what this does is it slows down the creation chain of the human, and it speeds up the creation chain of the organic portal. So it fills them with, well, basically a form of pleasure, or a form of stimuli, I will call it, and it will keep them going. Oh wow, there in the back there's a cave. Wow, cave entrance in this mountain here in front of me. Wow, it's a huge cave. I have to go check it out. Oh wow, look at this. I have never been here before. This is a large opening to the mountain. Basically, you can enter the mountain here. And here on the ground there's something very mysterious that you can hear now. What does it sound like? Oh shit. Whoa. That which you just hear seems to be the remnants of a tent that once upon a time was set up here outside of this mountain entrance cave. Wow, or cave entrance, you know. So wow. And here they've had a campfire, I can see. Wow, should I enter it? No. Because that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about organic portals. But wow, sometimes I'm definitely gonna enter this cave. Maybe I can record the echo. Oh wow. I'm completely fucking shit. I thought it was something. Wow. The entire roof is covered in stalactites. Can you hear their water drops? Beautiful. I wonder what secrets lay in the depths of this mountain. Maybe a secret underground civilization or something. I don't know. Oof. Let's go away from here. Maybe this is a restricted area. Ooh, this looks like something that was created. This little path here. Let's follow it instead and see where I come. Wow, this is stones that are being put. This is actually very incredible, but it's hard to explain. It's kind of like, okay, I'll try to explain it. It's kind of like you have a packet of butter. You open the lid of the butter. You take the entire yellow butter outside of the plastic packaging. You put it on the table. Then you flip it 45 degrees around the x-axis so that it lies with the side that is not that doesn't have the smallest area but not the biggest area either on the bottom, the area that is in between smallest and biggest of the butter, that is the middle sized face. You have that face on the table, and then you have a butter knife and you cut basically horizontally into the butter about a centimeter in, and then you turn the knife again 45 degrees around the X or the Y axis this time. So no, the X axis. So the butter knife is now horizontal, I mean vertical, and then you just cut down into the butter, and then you this little piece now that you cut out of the butter, you move out away from the big chunk of butter. So that's kind of like this mountain here, because there's a little chunk of the mountain that's now moved out and it creates a path. And I actually, if I were to guess, that it kind of was created with a similar technique to if you were to actually do this thing with the piece of butter that I just explained. So I'm gonna just walk here now and be very careful to not fall down. No, I think it's actually too steep, so I'm not gonna be able to do this. Wait. It's so beautiful here. I wish I could explain how beautiful it really is here. So you just walk along this here. There you go. I got caught the vine. Okay, wonderful. Now this recording was not supposed to be an exploration adventure, so somehow I have to get down here, because seriously, I'm gonna keep to the topic here, which is organic portals. Wow! Whoopsie daisy. Another cave. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go away from here. We're already now creating things that was not the fucking purpose. Either way, organic motherfuckers, as they're called, are synthetic tissue, and okay, so it's like I'm in the middle here of a very hard situation, so I will actually pause the recording and keep recording once I'm out of here. No, you know, whatever. I will not pause the recording. I will just not pause, because I don't like to pause recordings. That makes it seem like two different recordings, and I don't want it to be like that. I want this to be one take, basically. So, organic portals. What do they do? What do they want? And what should you think about when you encounter an organic portal? Well, you can you can just you can look them in the eyes if you want to, but be ready for a little be ready for two energies meeting. You can also befriend them, of course. You can also hang out with them. You can do anything with them. And you can study them. You can go on a walk with them. But there's one thing you cannot do with them. That is basically discussing certain concepts with them, because they don't have these generation magnifiers in their consciousness, so they will basically act with the generator that humans also have, that they act with when they're gonna, for example, calculate mathematical problems. So an organic portal will see everything with a logical mind, sort of like an artificial intelligence would, which means that they wouldn't be able to understand concepts that are not logical, and they would try to understand it logically, and they would perceive these concepts as very complicated because of that, because not everything you cannot take statistics about, you cannot write down statistics about everything. There are certain things that are not statistical, and because of the fact that statistical thinking is being used here, it's gonna have the result of coming out very complicated. But I already said that, so basically, yeah, that's it. Now there's nothing more to talk about. Basically, that's it. And what else can we talk about? Well, I explained already some mechanisms of action that they use to execute the Zarga codes, and what that means is the codes that twist the space-time in order to capture the soul elements. I can also explain just some physical features, because of the matrix configuration you can get very interesting effects, but it all depends on the configuration of the observer. So for everyone it's kind of different how these aspects are being perceived, but for some people organic synthetic tissue can look like plastic. For other people it can look like clay. For other people it can look like other materials that aren't organic, but it actually is organic. The reason why it's perceived like this is because, like I said, you don't have the generation tools necessary in order to manipulate the matrix in the way that the humans do around their face, because this has to do with conveying emotions on a second density subconscious level, and the organic portal only has the first density, which means that it's gonna be like looking at an empty wall if you try to communicate with it densely in the subconscious mind. So you better not. I mean, you can try, but you'll just get the same thing proven to you as I've just explained here. So, but you can try, of course. Yes, and what else? The organic portal doesn't have any interests. Right, that was the point. That was the point that I forgot. They don't have any interests. They only do things based on statistical rewards, because they have a statistical reward system implanted as a part of the configuration of technological perception generation tools inserted. And what it means is that well, what it means is it's very hard to explain, basically. So I'm not the best person at explaining things, but it's and it's not really like I just explained to you, because there's like, it's kind of like there are some things that mean something if you just say it. It means something completely different if you just well, if you don't say it and just think about it. But the organic portal is a little bit like a human that wants to be cooler than they are, so they want to hang out with the cool people, because they don't know how to be cool. But yeah, basically that's the easiest way I could explain this to you. This is probably why I forgot about this point, because it's just so pointless. And what else could I say about organic portals? What else is there to say, really? I think I've mentioned most of the things now. So I can recommend you, if you read all of chapter 9 in the book Organic Portals, Perceptions and Knowledge, by Abraham III, from Epsilon 9, of course, where they are being made, you will probably learn a lot more, because I'm not able to explain everything. I'm just a guy here that takes his own notes and makes up his own ideas and concepts. If you really want to learn something, you should ask the people that are good at this, which are the Zargs of Epsilon 9. So I end you on that note, and here it's getting dark, it's raining, the wind has stopped, but I think it's gonna be a very stormy night, so I hope that I don't wake up and see a lot of trees that fell over the roads or something.